Aloha and welcome from Maui, Hawaii. I am Teri Edmonds and thank you for joining me in this video about caring for your leather goods. This isn't just your simple shoe polish. This covers all kinds of things. So if you found this video, it's because you're specifically interested in caring for your leather goods. So in this video, we are going to touch base on, we're actually doing, I did a refurbish of the saddle. And this is what it looked like. We had some rips here in the seat. So I'll show you that. That was the before. This is the after on that saddle. So really, I did a lot of skiving on this saddle. I did some other good stuff, but this is really about how to treat your leather goods. This was the second saddle that you're gonna see in this video. And as you can see, there's some big rips. This leather is super dry and cracked and just stressed on the saddle. So I'm doing this for a client of mine. I get a ton of questions about leather. So with that in mind, let's get to, yeah, this was the after on that, but we'll see that more in detail. For now, this is another item. This happened to be a new leather jacket, but we painted it here. I painted it and then put these really cool patches on it. This was a memorabilia coat for a family from his grandfather. So there's some different treatments we're going to go over today, whether it's going to be conditioning, painting. This is a leather belt. This section right here is completely brand new. The client needed me to extend it by 12 inches. And so the rest of the belt looked like this, but I took it from being plain leather to this tooled, painted, dyed piece of material here, leather. So isn't that nice? I mean, you can't even tell. So I love doing projects like this. We're gonna cover things like paint, conditioners, leather dyes, shoe polish, and some of those supplies. So if you're still interested in the rest of this video, please stay tuned. We've got all kinds of before and after shots in case you're finding this on my website. I am Teri Edmonds and I own this shoe store called If This Shoe Fits, and it is here in Maui, Hawaii. I specialize in specialty footwear and shoe repair. If you are finding me on Amazon Live, you're interested in some of the supplies, or you just join me every week. It's so awesome. It's like a vlog in a way. And if you're finding me on YouTube, it's because you're interested specifically in these items. So thank you for joining the show. Please give me a thumbs up. Follow me if you're watching on Amazon Live, or subscribe if you're watching me on YouTube. Thank you for all the likes. All right, so hello, look at this gorgeous place I live. We're not gonna do this show every single Friday without sharing some gorgeous Maui-ness, okay? So I have a special treat for you followers that see me every week. I finally found the song because you know what day it is? It's Aloha Friday. It's Aloha Friday, no work till Monday. What is it? It's Aloha Friday, no work till Monday. Woohoo! All right, it is Aloha Friday. So thank you for joining me, you guys. Let's get the show started. I am going to cover a bunch of these supplies, and the best way to find me if you're looking for the supplies is on my website, teriedmonds.com. It's really easy. And you would just land on my homepage. I am Maui's only shoe repair. It's pretty exciting. I get a lot of cool stuff. Click the Amazon shopping button. It takes you to my Amazon shopping page. And today we're covering polish, but you see I have all these different categories. So if you're interested in shoe stretching, all of that, we do have videos on this Amazon shopping page, but today specifically we'll be talking about some leather dyeing and some polish. So easy way to find me. When you shop there, you support both of my Amazon Live and my YouTube channel, and it gives me a means to make these awesome videos. Okay, so here we go. I personally did this saddle project because I was trying to get in good with the horse owners. There's a whole bunch of horses here on Maui and horse owners, and so I like to go hang out with the horses, and so I got this awesome tour. Look at this beautiful horse. Oh man, it is so much fun. I just love them. This is a gorgeous horse. She actually feeds it avocados and coconut oil and some really great stuff. So it's, yeah, super fun. And then just some more horses. She's got some huge stable. She teaches kids, and the saddles we're working on today are kid saddles. So anyway, we'll just keep skipping on. This is the inspiration saddle. I know it's kind of hard to see from where you guys are, but I did this saddle for her a long time ago. And again, it had rips right along here in the saddle, and so I went ahead, and they weren't so bad that I didn't have to stuff them with new stuffing, but it turned out really nicely. I skived the leather really well so that when the kids rode on it, it didn't rub the leather up, because you can't stitch it on. So anyway, it worked fantastically. So we moved on to the next two saddles, and we'll be looking at those. So when I first got started, let me show you one of the saddles here. All right, this is, I just rubbed it, but this is one of the saddles. This is what we saw in those beginning pictures, and this saddle had giant rips right here, okay? And it was really old foam. So I actually, before I did anything to it, I cleaned it, and I used it with my very favorite cleaner, leather cleaner, fabric cleaner, suede cleaner, and it's the EZ-Suede cleaner. You can get it in 8-ounce bottles. It's always available on Amazon, and it's safe for everything. I love it. As an experienced cobbler, I've been in the business for what seems like forever. It is the main product that I use to clean just about everything. So I did clean the saddle first, and I'm not showing you how to do it because I've done that so many times for you guys. There's plenty of videos, and that's not about today. So after I cleaned it, I went ahead and applied my absolute favorite Cadillac boot and shoe leather lotion. Again, available on Amazon. The prices have gone up. Even as a cobbler, my vendor prices have gone up. But when my supplier asked me, do you want to still carry it with the price increase? I was like, yes, because it's the only thing that works like magic. So it's a wax-free lotion that cleans, polishes, and protects, leaving a soft, satiny finish. It retards water spotting and cracking. Enhances the life and natural luster of shoes, boots, handbags, coats, luggage, and other leather articles. It may be used safely on all colors on delicate kid, calf, glove, or smooth leathers, reptile, exotic skins, patent, and vinyl. Do not use on suede or nubuck. You can't put anything on suede or nubuck except for a Scotch guard to protect it. So I love this. And because that saddle was so dry, I didn't want to do any. I have to sand the saddle before I put the glue on. And so I didn't want to, I just needed to nourish that saddle. And so I put on maybe 3 coats and all over the saddle. And now, let me grab it again. Now, this thing, I mean, look at it. It had 2, it's kind of hard to see in this angle, but it had these 2 big cracks on both sides here because it was just dry. And all that wear and tear, I mean, these saddles are probably at least 20 years old. And that's what happened up here. It was just dry leather. If the client would have kept it nourished, then that really wouldn't have happened. So, but first treatment to anything, whether it be a belt or your shoes, if they're really dry and cracked, even a leather jacket. I get a lot of those. Just do this conditioner on it multiple times. It'll set the stage for the dye or whatever medium you're going to apply to it. It doesn't inhibit the color. For instance, that saddle, I dyed it before I put the polish on, and because I had put all that conditioner on, it didn't stop it from getting a really good deep color. So just a heads up. All right, so now we're looking at some, I put a recommendation for you guys for some leather hides. This company is the one that I found the most on Amazon that seems to be pretty available. And so you guys can check them out. Remember to double check what color you're looking, what color you're ordering, what size it is. I have to say leather is so affordable these days. I mean, gosh, you can get big, giant, huge hides for very affordable. So check out Amazon, see what they've got. They're offering, a light brown hide here for less than $40. So, and then of course, if you have Prime, you get free shipping. Okay, so what I did after I conditioned it, I cleaned the saddle, then I conditioned it, and then I got this from Amazon, and I didn't put it in the link, but it's this foam, and I got this 1/4 inch foam. And I cut little pieces to match the rips, and I filled in I got rid of some of the old, I made a nice clean channel on the saddle, and so that it had room to set this just real nicely. I wanted it to be firm because when the client comes to pick it up or when I deliver it, I want it to not have a bunch of ripples and bumps in it. I want it to look as clean line as possible. So that worked out really great. Then I made my pattern. And I use these scissors. These are the scissors I always recommend for all of my art projects, and it's the Craft Tool Pro Super Shears. They last so long. They're always sharp, and I really kind of beat them up. I don't give them a lot of tender care like you do sewing scissors, fabric scissors. I have to be a little more industrial and crafty here, so I love these. And they're charging, in this one, it's $40. And that's pretty typical, I'd say, and they stay sharp. I mean, I've cut sandpaper with them. So, anyway, they're really fantastic. So I put that connection in there for you guys because you'll definitely love that. All right, so the leather, let's keep talking. This is pig. This is a pig hide. And it's about a 3 ounce. I call this a 3 ounce. See, it's pretty thin. And this is its natural state once it's delivered. It's untanned. And so I made a pattern, and once I cut out my pattern, then I took my little skiving knife and I went around the edges, and it trims off that rough edge so that it gave me a really smooth line. I'll show you that. So I'll come in closely here, but if you notice, this is a very, very, very thin line right here because we don't want the rider to rub on it and make it curl up, okay? So that's how you do that. You do that with that skiving knife, and it makes things just set super flush together. That's what I did on that brown leather belt. We'll cover that as we get closer. All right, so the glue that I used, once I had my pattern set and I tested it, I actually had to get that pattern wet. The leather wet and let it soak because it didn't want to do that curve easily. So I got it super wet, stretched it, rolled it, made it super pliable, and then let it dry in the shape of the saddle. So it was really nice. I didn't have to put little darts on it, and just the one piece the better. Always looks like a smoother finish, and it's less edges for the rider to catch. Okay, so, and then I dyed it. It was glued on there, then I dyed it. So the dye that I love, of course, is Angelus. I always talk with you guys about the Angelus. It smells the best. I still always recommend using some kind of a respirator or being outdoors or in your garage with open air ventilation, something like that. And I don't know if you can see it, but I did it on my workbench here, and it's hard to see with the camera angle, but there are dye spots all over my table. I don't mind because I can just cover it with paint. That's the object. But anyway, it's messy. And even when you're using your paintbrushes, and I apply them with paintbrushes, I think, let's go past that. I actually have the paintbrushes later, but this is what I use. I use the Bosobo, the Bosobo paintbrushes. And I also put another attachment. I did a little thicker brush because it's a big saddle. And I wanted to make sure I didn't have little streaks. Okay, it's when you have a bigger canvas, you want your streaks to be, in all of it, you want your streaks to be non-noticeable. So a bigger brush definitely is what I used. I used a combination of them. So here we go. This was, moving on, I'm back to the leather lotion, because after I dyed it, I went ahead and took the leather lotion, as you'll see here, and cleaned the bag. So you can see that there. Hold on. Do that. So I'm super generous with it. It is kind of a cleaner. It gets some of the residue off of the leather, and well, it gets a lot of the residue off, and it really gives me, again, it's kind of cleaning that extra pigment that's on the leather. So it's nice. Plus I was able to get a look at what the color had turned out to be. I used a medium brown here, and it was medium brown. You really want to test your dyes. This medium brown had a little bit more kind of a burgundy tint to it. You can see that. So I figured I would do a dark brown polish, and then I did a dark brown cream polish, and then a brown wax. And then I came in later and patched these ultimately, but this was the big one I wanted to get to first. Okay, so next, we've got that saddle. I've just done the leather lotion on it, and it looks fantastic. So now I came in with a nice dark brown. Did I use the dark brown on that? Yeah, I did. I used the dark brown. So this pigment, it's really nice because, here we go. There are these little ridges in the leather still, and it was a very old saddle, and the leather lotion does a lot. But this cream polish, I'm actually pushing it into the leather. It's like little pores on your skin, and you could really see from different camera angles that you just had to just really put a lot on and rub it in. We're building back that suppleness in the leather. And I did a couple different colors for these bigger sections. I did want to give it a two-tone look because that's what the saddle already had originally. So I did the bigger panels, I did them with a dark brown and then a dark brown wax. And here I actually did a cognac on that with a mahogany. That's what I think I did. So let's keep going. I did two saddles, so. All right, so then I came in afterward and I used my Lincoln stain wax. This stuff has been around for a very long time. It is a super high quality product. It is the only wax I recommend, except for Shinola. That's another one that's been around. And they've got these nice little easy open tabs. They're charging $15. There were some available for $6, but I think typically an average price, like I sell them for $10 in my store, but this is really great. So then they have these nice little snap buttons here. You open it up and you've got a beautiful little palette of wax. So I went ahead and I'm using these nice brushes. I use these are a horsehair brush, and this is by Taco. This is a great brand. They've been around also for a very long time. Their brushes have lasted me years. I saw the original brushes from when I bought the business, and this business that I bought was, already 20 years old. So they've been around for about 30. So anyway, nice. If I'm doing black, of course I buy the black brush and the black applicator. So I was doing brown in this, of course. So I did the brown cream polish and then I did the brown wax. So here we are. This was the second, and I'm using this mahogany because it's this really nice light brown color. And it's really easy to use. It doesn't really smell. It lasts a long time. If you have a can and it starts to crack and dry, you can actually heat it with a blow dryer or a heat gun carefully. So I didn't take off the original cream wax. I just have that as a layer, and now I'm putting on this stain wax over top of it, and it is just pushing all of that product into the leather and making it incredibly supple again. See all these old cracks here? Well, it doesn't look like that anymore. I mean, you're putting in that crack, you're putting in the moisturizer, the wax, and yeah, just really great. The whole thing. And you know, I really wanted to do a nice job for her because this lady works super hard. She has a student classes that she teaches and stuff. So, all right, so now I've buffed it out, and I'm now going to put on my final coat of the leather lotion again. So if you add it up, I mean, there's probably 6 coats of this leather lotion on there, but I mean, it didn't even take a quarter, maybe half of this jar. You know, 8 ounces, big deal. You know, maybe $13 for the jar, and to totally restore all your leather goods. So you can go through your tack room and fix your bridles, whatever. So really great. So that's fun. And let's see here. So yeah, so again, like I said, I'm just like kind of cleaning up the extra residue. When she goes to put this on the saddle blanket, I don't want it to rub color all over. So anyway, that's a real nice extra touch there. Okay, so isn't this fun? That was the original. Let's just look at these. Big cracks everywhere. I put new foam right in here for her. So that's nice. And then look at our after. Pretty stunning. Wait, hello. There we go. So I've got another patch up here, and it's just kind of really blended in. See, it had to come over here. Let's see if I can get the camera still. This is where that foam, I put the foam inside here, so you can see it's just pretty nice smooth line. I felt really good about that, and I'm excited. We're gonna drop them off this weekend so I can sneak in some more horse pictures. This was the second saddle. Look at those, look at those. Isn't that amazing? Those were all ripped just because it was dry, okay? So, so anyway, so those are all filled in with that foam. This is where I put that foamy stuff, right? Stuffed it in there, and then I did put that leather that I showed you guys in the shopping cart. I put a pad of that inside there and then covered it. Excuse me. So that's the beginning. Here is the after. And just, you know, really lovely. I was able to do one piece on here, which is really nice. I don't like little patches, you know, preferably. I like it to look as least amount of repaired as possible, right? Hide the signs that you've been there. So anyway, I really love it. This was just really great. It was so fun to manipulate the leather and make it work. Okay, but saddles aren't the only thing that these products are meant for. You know, I am a cobbler, and I do a ton of shoes all the time. Shoes, handbags, belts. And I'm always using these products. So these were some really old boots, believe it or not. But I re-dyed them. They got new soles and heels. And then but like I said, I dyed some of these and put that dark pigment of the jet black Angelus dye on there. And then I followed them up with the black Moneysworth cream polish, right? And then I went ahead and followed it up with my black Lincoln stain wax. Where is that lid? Hello. So it says dark brown. That was dark brown, but I usually use black. And then buff it off really well so you can get rid of all the extra residue on the boot. But, you know, gorgeous. So again, we also do, this was I put this dart in the calf of her leg because her legs were bigger than the boot. And I get that question a lot here. So I made this nice piece of leather, and it was originally this color. So I dyed it before I even put it in there. I dyed it, I put the cream wax on it, and then I put the Lincoln stain wax, and then I inserted it into the boot and stitched it in. Just awesome, awesome, awesome. And I also did, because it was just a little bit darker than the rest of the boot, and that's the other reason why I put it on the inside of the calf. So any little non-perfectness would be on the inside of the leg, not the outside. What else? So that was fun. Let's keep going. All right, so then we have, this was this other saddle. I do have this saddle is in a video that we did together for those of you that follow. Just a really gorgeous saddle. All right, so here we are. We're back at leather care. Just in case you're just joining in, this video is about caring for your leather goods, all kinds of them. And there's a real basic palette that I use. So hopefully these will answer some other random questions. Oh, but wait, before we do that, we have to see my cat Maka. Okay, here we go. Look at her. She's so sweet. Oh, Maka. Bugging me in the garden. Looking for pets. That's how she is. Look at her. She's so... Oh my God. How can you not stop what you're doing and look at that cat? Awesome. Okay. So back to business, you guys. All right. Now we're talking about paints. If I had done that to those saddles and I wanted, if I couldn't get the dye to sink into a certain area, I've had this happen like on a leather jacket that I did for someone. He had paint marks on it from when his dad owned the jacket. His dad had passed away and he didn't want to lose those paint marks. Okay, so I did leave that in there with the dye. Dye did not cover those. If he didn't want those to show and I dyed it and it still was peeking through, then I would have gone through and I would have used my Angelus leather paint and I would have just, you know, artistically with a, you know, gone in there and kind of patted on some black to cover it. But that's what I would do. I actually came up with this custom color here. It's the color of the original patch this is the 7th Air Force, and it's the first Air Force, numbered Air Force in the United States, and they were in Hawaii of all places, and they were called the Pineapple something. So anyway, that's where they originated, and his grandfather served there. So this is a Memorabilia Jacket. Like I said, I painted the 7, that's what they wanted, and then sewed the patches on. And I made a custom color because this was the color I felt was the closest. So I used the natural Angelus, and I also used the Buttercup, okay? And mixed them together, did a couple of test swatches to make sure that I liked the color combination, and it turned out really nice. I'm actually doing a video on it, so you'll see me do all the detailing and everything sped up. But it was really fun, and I like the way it turned out. The client hasn't picked it up yet. Okay, so again, paints. I showed you this belt. Let's take one more look at it. Right? This whole section is all brand new. This was the original part. So I found a template that looked the closest to this flower pattern. And let's, you can see it. I think if I go back, hold on. Woo, those are pretty. There we go. So I found a pattern that was kind of similar. This is where the edge stops here. So this is all brand new. And I did that using a thicker version. It's like, I think it was closer to like an 8 ounce, but it was this. It was just this plain natural color. So I, of course, cut it and then did my tooling. I pressed the tooling on there and put those beautiful carvings in it. And then I came in with some of the brown dye. Oh, I get to get out my paintbrushes. I love painting. It's like when I get to do painting for my job, I just know that I'm in heaven and I'm doing the right thing. All right, so here we go. So I used a combination. These are the Bosobo paintbrushes. Okay, I got them in the pink. They're hard to find, so if you find the pink ones and you love them, order them right away. Otherwise, you can find a huge selection of them in blue. So you've got plenty of options. And I used the smaller brush with the dye. I did a dark brown in these little channels here. And so I just used my brush, The dye actually comes in, you know, this box, and every dye comes with its own dauber, but I did put an assortment of daubers in the shopping carousel for you guys because I use a bunch of different ones. And this actually has a box that when you punch the hole in the back, there we go, it becomes a stand. See that? Clever. All right, well, I actually pour mine into a jar because I use them so often and I like to be able to get my bigger brushes into the jars, so I save my recycled jars. But this is for you if you want this in your home crafting kit. I really like the Angelus. I mean, it's almost a one coat product, which is really nice. Anyway, so that's what I did there. And then I came through here with this beige color, and I think that was probably the natural, right? Put this nice natural color on there. And I did a Kelly green for the leaves. And then I came back over it with a little bit of the brown paint and just gave it some of this antiquing, kind of an antiqued look to it. And boy, I tell you, it just looks like it's part of the belt. So she was so thrilled. Oh my gosh, she just wrote me this amazing email. Thank you. So thanks for the project. All right, so here we go. And I also use the paints. This is a custom sandal by yours truly. And I just finished this for a client. This has the hibiscus pattern on it here. I showed you guys some of these supplies in the sandal making Amazon Live that you can see some of the details on that, but I actually have a full instructional video coming. This is going to be a sandal masterclass available on my YouTube channel. So it's this beautiful wedge. I used this, I tried to collect all of the Angelus colors. And so I did a mix of like a hot red and a little bluish red and some nice green in here. And then I finished it with the Angelus gloss. So they offer a matte finish or the high gloss finish. So that was really fun. I love it. She loved it. She was wearing it to a friend's wedding here on the island. And so it was really great. She loves them. And I think they're really fun. I like them a lot. All right, so in the Amazon shopping cart, you guys, I have a choice of the Angelus. It's kind of your basic kit. Again, if you're an avid crafter or artisan, I'd say just collect some of the colors. It's nice to custom mix colors, but it's also nice to kind of have them at your disposal, especially the beige, the bones. Those colors are really hard to custom mix. I do it all the time. And they dry differently. So if you have one that looks like a nice Capezio tan and you do a test on it, let it dry because sometimes they look a bit darker and a bit muddier. So really do some test swatches if it's a final product, okay? But as my shoe cobbler mentor told me, we fix things so anything can be fixed, okay? I don't want you to be too afraid. All right, so I'm showing the paintbrushes in the 2-pack, which is what I bought because I like to designate my brushes for the colors of dyes. So I like to just have those available. And you know, they're so affordable. Oh my gosh, this is like $6.99 on Prime. Hello, easy peasy. Keep them clean, they'll last you a long, long time. Okay, so here are just a couple of more samples of it. Doesn't have to be a saddle. It doesn't have to be a pair of shoes. It can be a leather sofa. I've had that. I did a full chaise lounge for someone. But this is a guy who had this bag forever, and you can see it's all collapsed. It's dry. Anywhere that it's got dry spots is where it's definitely going to rip. That'll be your first spot of, where the structure's been compromised. And here was the finished on it. With this, I did, of course, the brown Lincoln stain. It was all the same procedure. Clean the bag with the EZ-Suede cleaner. Then we did many coats of the leather lotion. Then we dyed it with some Angelus. And then I did the full wax routine. I did the cream polish from Moneysworth's Best. And I did the Lincoln stain wax. And then I worked on my muscles for about a half an hour. It was a lot of buffing, but it's pretty fantastic. And she's my really good client. And so she was happy and her husband's happy. So that was all that matters. All right, again, this is a refurbished boot. We did this together. Some of you might remember, but this was the finished. This is what it looked like when it came in. All the same steps: clean, condition, dye, polish. Okay, and look at what the results are. I mean, in the shopping carousel, I put a link to the Moneysworth's Best polish box. So it's got some of the basics. It's probably $30. Add in maybe 20 bucks worth of cleaner and conditioner, and you've got a full package for your home. This was another saddle. This gal was a young gal. This is before, this is after. It was brought here because one of the horses at the stable where she's boarding kind of bit into it, so I had to repair it. And because the young gal had a high school job and works pretty hard, I decided to just spoil her and redo it and make it look beautiful, because she seems to be a pretty responsible girl. So then we have just another example of taking something really old and dry and, you know, refurbishing it, giving it a bit more life. That was a fun one. I did a leather half sole for him and new heel cap, and just, you know, did a little thing here. While we're on it, I didn't put it in the link, but as I mentioned, this leather lotion has gone up a couple of bucks. Still worth the investment. I say #1 in my vote. But a backup would also be Lexal. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Lexal. It's been around for a very long time, and it's also a good product. I'm just in love with the Lincoln, or the Cadillac. All right, so this was also just another sample. If you want to see more samples, you can go to my website, teriedmonds.com, in the gallery, and you'll see all kinds of good stuff. So this one here, I clean conditioned, dyed this, right? Did some finish on it. I actually did not wax this though, because I didn't want it coming off on the client's garment. I know that I know this client. She's usually dressed up really nicely, and just because it was fresh out of the gate, I didn't want it to ruin her clothes. So very nice little Gucci. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen this style before. I see a lot of Gucci's in my store, but I haven't seen this really nice kind of a briefcase attaché, I guess you'd call that. All right, so pretty much I think we covered everything in the show. Oh, hey, hold on. I'll show you this guy's jacket. Oh, there we go. You can barely see my head. It's almost like my head's coming out of the jacket. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is how the jacket turned out. It was awesome. I'm excited for him to pick it up. Anyway, so if you guys aren't following me already, follow my Amazon shopping cart. I absolutely love working with Amazon. It's super easy. I've got all kinds of good stuff coming up for future shows. We've got the roller skates we're demoing. We've got every month we do the beauty haul with Amazon Live, and also you can go onto my website and see more about me, Teri Edmonds. And thank you so much for joining me. And shout out to my mom. The rest of you, have a great Aloha Friday. From Maui, signing off. Aloha.